Hi, everybody. This is Joe from PrepAgent, as you guys know, and today we're doing vocabulary. I want to talk a little about the vocabulary. Vocabulary is the foundation for you guys to pass your exam. Basically, this is a glorified vocabulary test, so you guys got to know the vocabulary. Today, we're going to go over vocabulary. We have different ways for you guys to learn the vocabulary on our system. One is do the vocabulary questions, which we're going to start out with, and then we're going to use our flashcard system. There's also the keyword sheet that you guys could use. You could fill it out and test yourself, because if you could fill it out, that really shows you understand what it's all about. And we also have a vocabulary worksheet with the vocabulary filled out that you could check yourself against. You should not do any questions until you have vocabulary mastered. It is the first thing you should do before you start studying, and it's the thing you should do right before you pass the exam. Okay, so I want everybody to have that clear, that everything starts with a vocabulary. And that's what we're going to do today. So with that being said, let's go. It's my mom's house in the background. I hope you guys like it. Very Martha Stewart-esque, don't you think? Okay. Now we are ready to go. Thanks, Jillian. Okay, so the first vocabulary word on the board. An encumbrance against property for money, either voluntary or involuntary. A, waiver, B, lien, C, burden, or D, situs. What do you guys think? Okay, it is a lien. A lien means that you owe money, right, guys? A lien means you guys owe money. Who could tell me different types of liens? Different types of liens. Okay, so you got mechanics liens, you got tax liens, different types of liens, judgment liens. So some of those are specific and some of them are general. What's the difference between a specific lien and a general lien? A specific lien and a general lien. Okay, general lien is if you don't pay, they could take all your property. Specific lien is when they could come after one property, right, guys? One property is collateral for the debt. One thing I should say. Examples of specific liens would be property taxes, mechanics liens, mortgages. General liens would be like income tax or judgment liens, things of that nature. Okay, we're moving right along. An estate and real property for the life of a living person. A, life estate. B, annum estate. C, estate upon death. Or D, absolute estate. And the answer is life estate. If your screen is blurry, make sure you change the settings to 720 HD on the bottom right of your screen. Okay, so the life estate. A life estate is when you have the property for the life of another. When you have the property for a life of another. Is a life estate a freehold estate or a less than freehold estate? What do you guys think? Is a life estate a freehold estate or a less than freehold estate? It is a freehold estate. Okay, can you guys give me other examples of a freehold estate? Adrian, you there? Give me a thumbs up if you're there. Okay, so examples of freehold estates are fee simple defeasible, fee simple absolute, and the life estate. Oh, good. Adrian's there. I can't do this without Adrian anymore. It's too scary. Okay, so you have fee simple absolute. Fee simple defeasible is a type of fee simple absolute estate that has a condition. All right? It has a condition. What does that mean? What does that mean if you violate a condition? What does it mean if you violate that condition? Ooh, we got 170 people here today. I feel like Justin Bieber. Thanks, Ace. Ah, appropriate name. Okay, a condition means if you violate it, you can lose the property. Can you guys give me an example of a condition? Can you guys give me an example of a condition? Example of a condition would be like no dogs, no selling alcohol, things of that nature. Okay, so those are freehold estates. The other type is a less than freehold estate. Can you guys give me the 4 types of less than freehold estates? 4 types of less than freehold estate. Four types of less than freehold estates. So you got estate for years, periodic tenancy, estate at will, and estate at sufferance. Really quick, let's go through those. Estate for years is for when there's a definite period of time. Okay, there's a clear termination date, like May 1st to April 8th. Periodic tenancy is when something is like month to month or week to week. Estate at will means it can end at any time. Estate at sufferance means you are there past the agreed upon contract, also known as a deadbeat tenant. Okay, moving right along. Appraising the value of a property by comparing the price of similar properties. A, approach or substitution. B, cost approach. C, market data approach. Or D, income approach. Tennille says, Joe, some of questions are confusing on periodic versus estate for years. Periodic just means it's reoccurring. Estate for years means it has a definite end date. Hopefully that helps. The answer is C, market data approach. All right, moving right along. You guys hear my dog? It's actually my mom's dog. My dog's at my house. My dog's way cuter. Okay, a condition created when a loan payment is less than interest alone, even though payments are made on time, the amount owing increases. A, insufficient amortization. B, negative amortization. C, increasing amortization. Or D, partial amortization. Okay, the answer is negative amortization. So negative amortization is when your payments don't cover the interest and therefore your debt keeps going up. Your debt goes up and up and up. Okay, moving right along. By the way, on the Facebook group, you guys should all be members of the Facebook group. Adrian, would you mind posting a link to the Facebook group? Would you mind doing that? Post a link to the Facebook group. On the Facebook group, we've been having people soliciting emails on that group. Don't give your email to people, okay? Because the Facebook group's a great opportunity to interact with others who are studying for the exam just like you. But very often people will say, oh, I have the answers to the exam. I have this. Send me your email. Send me your email. Some of them may be good people. Some of them may be bad. But if you send their email, you run the risk of being on a spam list or being solicited for some business that you didn't want. Obviously, we try and monitor those people and we try to keep them out as much as we can, or try and educate them if they are trying to do the right thing on the right way to do it. But do not just give your emails to random people that post on groups. Everybody got it? Give me a thumbs up if you got it. Okay, some of you guys may have seen that. That's come up a bunch this past few months. People are trying to solicit emails on our group. And I said, if they're soliciting emails where their intentions are good, we'll communicate with them and we will educate them on the proper way to help. But you don't want to be giving random people your email, not just on our group, but in general. I think it's a bad idea. Okay. Move right along. I believe somebody asked about meets and bounds. Meets and bounds is just a way to identify a property as it relates to a specific landmark, like how far it is from a lake, a tree, or a cliff, or something of that nature. Just think of like when you go treasure hunting on a treasure map. That's meets and bounds. Speaking of treasure, did you guys read about that boat 3 years ago that was found off the coast of Colombia that had $13 billion in treasure? They found a Spanish Armada ship off the coast. Sorry, irrelevant, just interesting fact. Okay. A lease requiring a tenant to pay, in addition to a fixed rental, the expenses of the property lease, such as taxes, insurance, maintenance, etc. A, percentage lease. B, net lease. C, sandwich lease. Or D, gross lease. Okay, and the answer is net lease. Okay, so have different types of leases listed here. All four of those that are on the board you should know about. All right, so all four you guys should know. Now, first off, what's a percentage lease? Do you guys know? Congratulations, Jeremy. Okay, what is a percentage lease? The percentage lease is when you are paying rent based upon a percentage of the money coming in, just as it says. Okay. A net lease is when you are paying for taxes, insurance, and maintenance. People often refer to it as a triple net, but really it's just a net lease. Technically, it's just a net lease. Triple net is just a way of characterizing paying for taxes, insurance, and maintenance. And you guys know what a sandwich lease is? And you guys know what a sandwich lease is? Who's ever heard of a sandwich lease? Sandwich lease is also known as subletting. And the way I want you guys to remember this, and everybody write this down, a sandwich lease is when the lessor is also the lessee. The lessor is also the lessee. Can you guys all remember that? Sandwich lease is when the lessor is also the lessee. Okay. Did everybody get what I mean by that? The lessor is also lessee. They're renting from somebody else, but they're also renting out to another person. Okay, a gross lease is when you pay a fixed amount in rent. A fixed amount in rent. Which one of those four is your typical residential lease? What do you guys think? Which one of those four represents your standard residential lease? Poppy Walker, yes, that subleasing is a sandwich lease. Okay, gross lease would represent your typical residential lease. I took a big risk today. I showed my face in the beginning of the webinar. I never do that. That was so scary. Crowds make me nervous. Thanks, Torman. That's kind of my trademark. Okay, belonging or relating to the bank of a river or stream. Oh, and that wasn't on purpose yesterday. Today was on purpose. Okay, deciduous, avulsion, riparian, or littoral. Somebody just said I'm handsome. I think I saw that. Okay, so this has to do with riparian. Riparian. Okay. So remember riparian river, littoral lake, riparian river, littoral lake, riparian river, littoral lake. Okay. So riparian rights have to do with when you buy a river, right, guys? But that is not the true definition. What is the true definition? River and lake are just examples to help you remember the concept. Okay, but what is the true definition? Congrats, Anna Chavez. Eat some Boston crab cakes with you. Baltimore. Baltimore. Okay, so what is the true definition? So riparian has to do with a moving body of water. Okay, and littoral has to do with body of waters that are stagnant. They're not going in a specific direction. Okay, good job, everybody. An order by a court preventing one from acting or restraining one from continuing some action. A, injunction. B, desist order. C, refrain order. D, lease pendants. Okay, and the answer is A, injunction. Injunction is a court order to stop. Okay, that's all it is. Just remember your keywords: injunction, stop. By the way, for those guys who don't know, we do these webinars 5 days a week for our premium members. And the benefit of that is you can see the whole history of them. You have access to all the recorded webinars through your control panel. And obviously, it's a much smaller group. So it's easier for Adrian and I to answer questions in the chat. Obviously, when we have, 170 people? Oh, now it's close to 200 people. It's harder to get to everybody. But for our premium members who do these webinars when they're not public, it's much easier to interact. And they have access to all the previous recordings. So they can watch it again and again and again. And they're 5 days a week. Okay. Move right along. A deed operating as a release intended to pass any title, interest, or claim which the grantor may have in the property, but not containing any warranty of valid interest or title in the grantor. A, quitclaim deed, B, warranty deed, C, trust deed, or D, grant deed. Speaking of which, I've been mentioning Adrian, and it just occurred to me some of you may not know who he is. He works with us at PrepAgent. He answers a lot of your tickets when you message us through the website, and he is on the chat now, and he helps me define things for people, explain things for people when I either don't have time or maybe I just don't even know the answer. So he works with me to help support you guys, and if you guys wrote to us through the website, you probably got a response from him. In case you were wondering who that is. Not just some random person that I'm talking to who I like better than everybody else. Okay, so the answer here is quitclaim deed. So you have different types of deeds. Okay, everybody? So first and foremost, what is a deed? A deed. What is a deed? What do you guys know about a deed? So a deed is evidence of a transfer, right, guys? So if a deed is evidence of a transfer, what is evidence of ownership? What is evidence of ownership? So if a deed is evidence of a transfer, then what is evidence of ownership? What is evidence of ownership? Title is evidence of ownership. Nice job, Erica. Okay, so title is evidence of ownership. And a quitclaim deed is the fastest way to release title because there's no warranties, meaning what you see is what you get, which is why typically you would do that amongst like people you're very close with, such as family. Okay, so this is one element of how to learn vocabulary, which I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. I want to show you guys the other items as well. Oh, got my try and choose suggestions. And also this week, Arthur launched the question of the day mailing list for everybody. So if you add to that list, you'll get a question emailed to you. You can opt out at any moment. Our purpose is not to spam anybody. It's not what we want to do. We created that because we did a focus group and you guys asked for that, to get a question emailed you regularly as a way to keep you on task with your studies and also maybe learn a few concepts, but more importantly, it's kind of our daily reminder to study a different concept. So when you sign up for the emails, the email comes to you and you'll see a concept and you're like, ooh, I didn't know that. I should know that. Or maybe it's a minimum, it just keeps you on task. Okay, so these are the vocabulary worksheets and the keyword outline I referred to before. We're not going to look at those right now. We're going to go to the flashcards. The flashcards. All right. Alan, I can do one. I'll try and make one of those. Okay, so first we have littoral up here. I want you guys to define that using as few words as possible. Few words as possible. We already went over this, so everybody should be able to do this. So Erica says lake. Boom. And by the way, this flashcard item works very well on your mobile phone. It's very mobile friendly. Okay, lake. The term concerning the shores and lakes. Okay, estate for years. Estate for years. Estate for years. What do you guys think? Nice job, Matt Porter. Clear termination date. Alan, Airbnb. Yes, I guess that'd be estate for years. Okay, remember, we want to define these using as few words as possible. Okay, economic obsolescence. What do we know about that one? Economic obsolescence. Economic obsolescence. That's when your property loses value for reasons outside of the property lines. Okay, let's see, a lot of you guys running airport. That's a great example. Can you guys give me other examples of economic obsolescence other than airport? Airport's a great example. What are some other ones? A gas station, crime in the neighborhood, things of that nature. Okay, you got three forms of depreciation: physical, economic, and functional. Right, guys? Which one of those three is not a form of obsolescence? Which one of those three is not a form of obsolescence? Who knows? So you got economic, physical, and functional. Which one of those is not a form of obsolescence? Good. Physical. It's physical deterioration. Physical deterioration. So you got physical deterioration, functional obsolescence, and economic obsolescence. Zoning. Who could define zoning for me? Congrats, Sam Lopez. Good job. Hey, zoning. So Danielle Bender asking, what is physical deterioration? Danielle, it's basically when your house is breaking down and you don't fix it. Okay, zoning is the regulation of controls of the land. So you see things like R3, which is multifamily residential. You see things like building codes. Can you guys give me an example of a building code? There's probably one around you if you just look around the room you're in right now. Give me an example of a building code. What do you guys think? So 2 handrails on stairs or having a handrail on a stair is an example of a building code, an exit sign, things of that nature. Good. So zoning is a police power. Building codes are police powers as well. Okay. Police power is one of the 4 government powers. Can you guys name the other 3 government powers? Can you guys name the other 3 government powers? So you have police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. Police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. Ad valorem. What is ad valorem? Ad valorem is according to value. Latin for according to value. Okay, and easement by prescription. What does that mean? Easement by prescription. That's when you gain easement by using it for a certain amount of time, crossing the property for a designated amount of time. Good. Net lease, we went over this before. Net lease. What's a net lease? A net lease is when you pay for taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Okay, easement appurtenant. Easement appurtenant. What is an easement appurtenant? Easement appurtenant is an easement that goes with the land. Right, guys? Goes with the land. Anytime something's appurtenant, that just means it runs with the land. So real property is appurtenant. Okay, statute of frauds. Statute of frauds. What do you guys think? Statute of fraud tells you what things must be in writing. Must be what is in writing. So this comes up when we talk about enforceable and unenforceable contracts, and I'll start with this. What are the 4 essentials of a valid contract? What are the 4 essentials of a valid contract? What are the 4 essentials of a valid contract? Who knows? The 4 essentials of a valid contract are capable parties, right, guys? Offer and acceptance, lawful object, and consideration. Capable parties, offer and acceptance, lawful object, and consideration. Okay, mutual consent and meeting of the minds and agreement all mean the same thing. All right, guys? So the 4 essentials: capable parties, lawful object, consideration, and offer and acceptance, whatever order you want. Now, if something does not, a contract does not have one of those elements, what is it? Is it voidable or void? If it does not have one of those elements, is it voidable or void? Okay, it would be void. It would be void. By definition, a void contract is a contract that lacks one of those elements. People often ask me, what is the difference between unenforceable and void? What is the difference between unenforceable and void? That's a great question. So an unenforceable contract is a contract that could have those 4 elements, but maybe it's a contract, for example, that needs to be in writing, but it's not in writing. As we just said, writing is not one of the 4 essentials. So not every contract needs to be in writing. But if a contract is one of those contracts that needs to be in writing, but it's not, then it would be unenforceable. Does that make sense, guys? So that's the difference. I hope I explained it well. You also could see this with statute of limitations, just as you can with statute of frauds. There could be an element in certain contracts where an item is necessary above and beyond the 4 essentials. And if it doesn't have one of those elements, then it's unenforceable. Okay? And is not voidable because you don't have the option to go through with it. So the 4 essentials apply to every single contract. writing or time differentiates per the contract. Right? Does that make sense? So what could be unenforceable regarding one contract may not be unenforceable regarding another. Okay, bundle of rights. What's the bundle of rights? So Vicky, that's what we have in our premium membership, much less people. Okay, bundle of rights is your rights when owning property, the right to use, possess, dispose, to encumber. It's all the rights that come with property ownership. And last one of the day, a life estate. What is a life estate? Who could tell me what is a life estate? So a life estate is when you own property based upon the life of another, and it's a type of freehold estate. All right, guys, that's it for today. This is Joe from PrepAgent. I hope this was helpful. And as always, make sure you learn your vocabulary to the best of your ability before you advance on to questions. I cannot guarantee you'll pass if you know all the vocabulary, but I can guarantee you'll fail if you don't. It's not the end, but it is the beginning and where to start. All right, so thanks, everybody. Have a great day. It's Joe from PrepAgent with Adrian.